Peace, everyone. This is Artist of Truth, and welcome to another vlog entry. So, what I like to talk about today is relationships. So, lately, as you all may know, we've been hearing a lot of chitter-chatter from Derek Jackson. Alright. Me personally, Derek Jackson to me is the hurt version of a female that has yet to seek counseling for rehabilitating herself. That's exactly how I see Derek Jackson. You know, Derek Jackson comes off like that one bitter, disgruntled, still emotionally attached female friend that has no man in her life, has a tendency of sabotaging her own sense of happiness, has the inability to take accountability for herself. Now, mind you, I was on the phone talking with a really good friend, a woman, and she hit me to some things that honestly, I respect her position, but I don't believe that all men are fully responsible for the actions and behaviors of a lot of females. She made that point to me, and honestly, I listened to her point of view, but I could not accept it. It was like a part of me was just like, no, I don't believe in that, And she made some real good points, about who's been in control of everything for, last, 100+ years. And she was like, man has been in control. And I was like, you know what? You are absolutely right. But this is my take on it. That is and has always been the will. That has always been that way. That men are leaders. Okay? Now, mind you, you can't. This is for the ladies. You cannot expect a man to lead if you're not willing to follow. Because if you expect a man to stand up and be the type of man that you want him to be, you have a role that you have to play. And personally, it's a lot of females that do not know their role. They don't know their role. Even if they are raised in a household where the father is there, the father is displaying a sense of leadership. You still have females out here that are just doing exactly whatever the hell they want to do, and then turn around and say, well, it's man's fault. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't like the whole this is your fault. I don't even like that. I really don't. I don't like that whole this is your fault, that back and forth type of shit. I don't like that. Because you have ladies out here that are saying, well, where are all of the good men at? It's like, first and foremost, you have to make sure that you are right. You have to make sure that yourself is right. If you're not right, the type of energy that you are putting out into the universe, guess what? That energy is going to pull in the type of guy that you don't want. And see, I've listened to Derek Jackson on and off. I'm a little disappointed because Derek Jackson comes off as that disgruntled homegirl that can't get a man. It's like, I don't know, it's like the spirit of a disgruntled female has became of Derek Jackson. In his conversations, there's no level of accountability that's being expressed here. There's no level of accountability being expressed here. There's no real building tools that is coming from Derek's opinion. And as I stated before, I was like, Derek Jackson is 30 years old. Okay? He's 30 years old. He, not too long ago, got married. All right? My thing is, what does Derek Jackson know about 40-year-old women and their behaviors? Like, statistically, where is he getting his information from? That's also something that I want to know. Because he's throwing out his own personal opinions, and a lot of that is inaccurate facts. It is. There's no real evidence to follow exactly what he's saying. Derek Jackson Derek Jackson does exactly what Democrats do to black Americans. Pander. That's all. Pander. And the sad part about it is, any man, and I'm only gonna say this one time, any man that panders to a black woman or a black female's pain and suffering is suspect. It's like, no real genuine man is going to do that. A real man is going to sit up here and blatantly just come out and say, you know what? You are wrong, and he is wrong. So it has to be accountability on both sides. Because you can't get out here and say, oh, I need a man that's going to lead. I need a real man and this, that, and the fifth. You can't ask for these things if you're not being the woman that you need to be for him. So I get it. Derek Jackson, he loves to boast a woman's self-esteem. And there's nothing wrong with that. I feel like, I look at stuff like that and I feel like, oh, okay. Nothing wrong with that. But when you are trying to boast women's self-esteem, but then in the same process, you are downing black men, let me explain something to you. For any of the ladies that listen to him, what he's doing is creating a greater division between black men and black women. Now, I hear a lot of conversations about black women not feeling protected and respected, right? But let me ask you this. What is Derrick Jaxn doing? I mean, true enough, yeah, he sounds like that articulate, he sounds like this articulate homegirl who has several degrees, but when it comes to basic common sense, she lacks that. When it comes to self-accountability, she lacks that. I mean, honestly, this happens a lot. This really and truly does. This happens a lot. When you have men and women who are willing to hold, especially women, when you have that one particular woman that's holding her sisters accountable for their actions and behaviors and trying to put out a message like, hey, you have to stop doing this, you have to stop doing that, because if you want this particular, if you are seeking this particular type of man, you have to make sure that you are together. You have to make sure that you are ready. And if you're not ready and you're not together yourself, then you can get into that relationship, but that relationship will not go the distance. There will be problems in that relationship. Consistent. He will start to feel as if, damn, I've invested a lot of my time and energy into you, and I'm not getting back what I've invested in you. You're not even investing in me. It's almost like you feel that you should be totally and completely cared for, taken care of, and whatnot. But then you're not pouring into him or the relationship. And even in that sense, Derrick Jaxn will find a way somehow to make it seem as if, oh, it's not you, it's him. But the reality of it is you, because you're not right. You're not right here, and you're not right here. Derrick Jaxn does not like holding sisters accountable. He doesn't. That's not even in his that's not even in his DNA. His DNA stems to downing black men. That's his thing. He just, it seems like in every one of his videos, it's always downing men. And I'm sitting up here and I'm thinking to myself, it's like, the more and more I hear him talk, the more and more I pick up on that type of energy, that this is a man who is bitter that his dad ran out on him. That's what I believe it is. I believe Derrick Jackson is like really and truly bitter because his dad left him. Like, you can't call yourself some sort of relationship guru if you're not willing to be open and honest with everyone, men and women. You can't. You're just one-sided. You're very one-sided, and Derrick Jackson is very, very transparent. You know, he's transparent on who he is and what he's actually about. So, let me give you sisters some real sound advice. Because first and foremost, each individual has a choice on whether or not they're going to be loyal, they're going to be disloyal. We all have a choice, okay? We all know exactly what we can do as individuals once we get into a relationship or we start dating someone. We all know that certain things that we say, certain things that we do, of course, as I always talk about, our actions and individual behaviors contribute to sabotaging our own relationships. Okay? Men do it, women do it. Okay? Men do it in the sense of either they can be sneaky and they can get away with shit. And then you have some women that get out here and they do the same exact thing for whatever reason. If they're not happy at home, their needs are not getting met, they'll tip out. They will tip out and then justify the means. Now, is that right? Of course not. Because if it was done with, if this was done with, if a man was to do it, then it would be a problem. Oh, well, my needs weren't getting met and this, that, and the fifth. And the whole response would be, well, shit, so? Boo-hoo. But that same energy is not being reciprocated, It's not being reciprocated. You want a loyal, stand-up guy who's family-oriented and this, that, and the fifth. I was like, oh, okay, cool. That's what you want. Are you a family-oriented woman? Meaning of which, are you willing to date a man who has kids? And I will tell you this much. Most women will jump out there and say, hell no, because I don't want to deal with baby mama drama. No. Most women would actually come out and say no, they don't want to deal with that. But then, if a woman has children, and see, this is the thing that really confuses me, and which is another reason why I don't take black females seriously, is you speak about what you can't accept and what you don't want, which that's totally and completely okay. That's your prerogative. But when the tables are turned and those same questions are presented, then it's like, well, I have 3 or 4 kids. This man has to be family oriented. He has to be willing to accept me and my children. Keyword, has. Let me say it again. Keywords, has to be willing to accept me and my kids. But then on the flip side, you got a lot of women out here who are just saying, no, I don't want to accept a man who has, who already has a pre-made family. It's like, this shit it's again, which is why I don't take black females seriously. I don't. You can't get out here and say, oh, well, man has to a man has to accept me and my children and blah, 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 yaggity smackety. But if a man has kids, you have a problem with that. You can't accept that. You don't want to accept that. But you expecting a man to accept that. And see, Derek Jackson be killing me on this shit. Like, dude, stop it. You don't even want to hold our sisters accountable to their actions and their behaviors. Your actions and behaviors play a major part in whether or not you are going to have a successful relationship. Meaning of which, you got to be willing to say, you know what? I played my part in this relationship crumbling. Hey, learn from it and build on it. The same thing with brothers. If you know that you are out here and you're cheating, you're stepping outside of your marriage. All right, you're stepping outside of your marriage. You know that's wrong. You have to hold yourself accountable. Because even if you're not being satisfied at home, okay, you're not having your needs met, then there needs to be counseling. Then there needs to be conversations to work towards that. And shit, resolve it. If it can't be resolved, then you two need to go your separate ways. Period. You just need to go your separate ways. There's no way of being clear about that. You just have to go your separate ways. And it's okay. It's all right. No big deal. No big deal. But, in closing, Derek Jackson, I don't know. His energy comes off as if he has the spirit of a bitter female. That's just it. There's no other way, because the more and more I listen to him, the more and more I pick up that type of energy from him. Nowhere in his videos is he saying, ladies, you have to be accountable for your actions and behaviors. Because your actions and behaviors will cause a man to respond to you in a different manner. The same thing with us. The same thing with men. I'm not drawn to a problematic, baggage carrying type of female. I'm not drawn to that. So the first indicator, the first red flag that I see, I'm pushing her off. I'm like, I'm good, thank you. I'm not even going to give her a piece of my energy, nor am I going to even invest or waste my time with her. It's like, why? By doing that, I'm setting myself up for potential failure. Because if she's carrying baggages, that means she has a whole lot of issues that she has yet to resolve within herself. It's a lot of issues that she refuses to let go of. So she's going to bring it over here and drop them in my space. And then I have to ruffle through these bags with her to try and rehabilitate her, to create some sense of reassurance within her that she should be doing that on her own. You can only reassure yourself. You have to work on yourself first, because if you keep having flawed relationships after flawed relationships after flawed relationships after flawed relationships, look, after the third flawed relationship, you have to start looking within yourself. You can't sit up here and continuously blame another man because things didn't work out. No, you can't do that. That's not mature. Derek Jackson is not saying that. He does a lot of pandering. Now, if anyone can show me or prove me wrong, then I'm all about learning. I'm all about learning. I'm all about being corrected if I'm wrong. But I guarantee you, I understand exactly where Derek Jackson says. I understand exactly where he's coming from. If you ask me, I feel personally Derek Jackson needs to enter into some form of counseling for himself, because he's possessing the spirit of he possesses the spirit of a bruised woman, a bruised female. So in the meantime, in between time, I will check in with you all later. As I always state, your joy and happiness belongs entirely up to you. Stop giving away your joy and happiness to undesirable individuals. Okay? Protect your peace. Protect your energy. All right? Until next time, remember, I love you. If you haven't been told that today, you're hearing it from me right now. My brothers, my sisters, I love you all. But get on your shit. Make sure you're right here as well as here. That is the very first step. If these two aren't right, there will always be chaos. And stop listening to Derek Jackson. Everything that fool's saying it's just opinionated from the spirit of a bitter, hurt black female. Peace.